Well, here we are, back again. Should be anyway. Yes, there we go. There we go. Right. This is the last half hour of our program. This morning we've had some interesting stuff, I think. Just a reminder that the main headline story this morning was the concern that now we are under constant surveillance from the Chinese, that we have got satellites and cameras, and actually the main story is, for goodness sake, we're worrying about balloons and drones and things. Is the Chinese are spying on us in our own backyard? Wherever you see these, is they are looking in. Now, how much truth there is to that, it's very difficult to say, but there is obviously great concern about how much we can be seen and how much through these cameras, through phones, through all sorts of things that are made in China. And apparently, the fear is, and I suppose they've got substance for it, is that we've been, or they've been building into all these things that we buy, the ability to use them as spy cameras in the UK. So you have to be careful. What you're doing, what you're saying there, is no winking of the neighbour's wife anymore. You will be seen. All right, okay. Let's let's now take a look at.
Hello, welcome to Louis.
Behind me you can see the cancer research doctors, but they are unusually empty. Any other year you would be seeing Leslie Hills painting right here. She is painting the people of Lewis. They are many recognizable faces. Today we're speaking to one of these people behind the paintings.
My name is Tony Kalume, but most people call me Anthony Kalume. That's what my mom used to call me. So I am actually one of the few people from Lewis who have been working with the police around hate crime. So we've been, when I say we, it's Diversity Lewis is a group that was formed 10 years ago. And we were actually concerned about the level of racism within the town. So we managed to get a few people who were really up for a challenge. So we started this group knowing that it's not going to be easy. And most people were saying Lewis is not a racist town. And some people are saying, oh yes, Lewis is a racist town. So we had polarity. So we managed to get people to come over and have a meeting at the Pelham House. And we called it Have Your Say. So we got people together and we managed to get an Eventbrite event.
Yes,
you had to get your emails. Yeah. So from that emails, we got a mailing list. So from that mailing list, we had a meeting where everybody brainstormed and said, oh, we need more talks about cultural things. Some people say, oh, we just need somewhere to have fun, venue, to have music, food, fashion. So what happened is we had different ideas. People came with, let's celebrate Black History Month. So we managed to have International soup festival where everybody came with soup from all over the world. So we had soup from Czech Republic, we had soup from Iran, we had soup from Thailand, we had soup from Kenya, we had soup from England, So we got everybody together, and some of the restaurants, the Indian restaurant, they offered. They said, "Oh, we'll give you some soup for free." So we had quite a lot of soup. So we called it the International Soup Festival. And it ran for 4 years, at the All Saints Center. And everybody came there, because there was no class, there was no age, it was multi-generational, and it worked quite well because we had shots. So people used to have shots of soup and go to the next stall, have a shot of soup. If they like it, then they sit down and then they buy a bowl, for $5 or something, So it was so well organized and it was so appreciated that it became claustrophobic. The place became too small for so we had to stop, 2 years ago. We stopped doing the soup festival, but it was quite a good way to bring cohesion so we've been doing events like in the restaurants, people want some music, so we've been doing that. And then Leslie knows what I do because I did a video for George Floyd in June when George Floyd was murdered in Minneapolis, and it was just for members of Diversity Lewis. So I thought maybe 30 people will come. You put an event on Facebook and I'm going. It was like, only 12 people said they're going, so it's okay. So I went there, put got the photograph of George Floyd. I just magnified it big. So I was walking down the street with it, and then suddenly I see all these people, because I told everybody to dress in black. So I was looking everywhere. Wow, there are so many people, and there were like more than 5,000 people turned up, and I was like, what? So what we did, I had anticipated something like that, but I didn't expect so many. So I had stewards. Some of the members were high vis and started giving them physical distance. So it went all the way up to the court, the court, and then some of it spilled down to the Session Street. So it was such an occasion, and then what we did, we had 8 minutes of silence, and 48 seconds, just because that's how long that somebody stayed on somebody's knee and died. So we did that for 8 minutes, which was quite a long time, but it was quite short. When you saw all the people there, and then there was somebody with a drone who took aerial shots, and I'm so sad nobody took a video of it, but still you can see the physical distance of the crowd. So we've been doing events like that. We've been working with the police around hate crime. We've been working with the schools, going to assemblies and speaking about your identity and where you come from, just to get people to know that we are all the same. Racism is something that you learn and you can unlearn. So, and I've been working also with universities, doing, work with the Heritage Lottery Fund. We got some funding from the Heritage Lottery Fund. So we've been working with the museums, Royal Pavilion Museums, and we did an exhibition called Fashion Cities Africa, which brought designers from North Africa, which is Casablanca, and then South Africa, Johannesburg. Then we got people from the West, Lagos, and then from the East, Nairobi. And we brought all their fashion to Brighton Museum. And people came even from America just to see it, because it has never been done like that before. You know, everybody thinks, oh, people dress in Africa in skins, or they dress in so when they saw contemporary, artists who even Beyonce and all these Rihanna actually wear their designs, it was amazing. So it was contemporary African city fashion. So it was a different look at people, and seeing that our main aim is to celebrate our differences. That's what we do. I think that's what Leslie liked about it.
When did Leslie paint you?
Actually, we met in December last year, and she said, there's a competition in January I want to enter, and I need you I need to take your portrait of you. So I said, okay, fine. So I sent her some pictures. She said, no, I don't want it like that. I want it like this. I said, okay, then take a picture then. So she took a picture of the way she wanted, because I'd given her a full, I said, no, I just want your face, but looking that side. So she came and took a picture of me, and that was in December. And then she said the competition is in January. So I don't know if she submitted it or not, because I haven't seen her for quite a while because of the pandemic.
Well, there you go. Right, the microphone is on, and an interesting chat there, and I think that it's now 28 minutes past 10. We've got a little while to go. Is there anything else of interest that we can just pad in for the moment? Yes, I think there is. I think that we're going to start out the weather. I'm not going to show you that. We'll see. Well, do you know something? We're going to show you the art show. We haven't shown that for a little while. And Sarah hasn't made a new one yet, which she will. So here we go. We'll end with that today. Avuncular today, because I may be asked to play Father Christmas. Nobody's asked me yet. I'm very disappointed.
Oh, you're lying. Your name's on the list, I'm sure.
I'm glad that you can give me this assurance. Makes me feel much happier. Sarah Fitch Hayes and myself talking art as usual. She knows all about it. I know absolutely nothing, which is a good way to be. Mm-hmm. What have you been doing this last week with the oils?
Oh, I've been very, very busy. Very busy.
Right. Okay, tell all then. Tell all.
My voice is gone, so I've got a bit of a cold, so I have to forgive my huskiness. Do I sound sexy?
Well, I bet your husband's pleased about
that. But yeah, no, I'm working on I'll tell you what I'm doing at the moment. I've done the Harvey's bottle. That's hanging up in the actual back of the brewery at the moment, because they're deciding what to do with it.
Which brewery?
You know, Mr. Miles Jenner.
Oh, you got hold of Miles, did you?
Yeah, I did. I finally walked in and I managed to get hold of him.
Oh, right, yeah, good. Was he pleased?
He loved it, and he said, "Look, I think it's a bit too photographic for postcards and things." I said, "Well, I'll tell you what. What would you think? How would you like to use it?" And he goes, "Oh, well, maybe I could have it hanging. It could go in one of our Harvey's estates or pubs or whatever." And I said, "Well, why not?" So he's hanging it on the wall, and he's deciding what to do with it.
Oh, excellent, yes, excellent. Yeah. Oh, yeah, well, yes. Well, tell us, what did you think of Miles?
He seems like a nice guy.
He's a nice man, isn't he? Yeah. And he's very good at what he does. Okay. I mean, he's basically the chief brewer as well as the chief executive.
He brews the beer himself.
Oh, indeed. He's in charge of it, yeah. In fact, I think if my memory serves me correct, is when you go into his office, it actually says chief brewer. It doesn't sort of say boss man. Oh, well, that's splendid. We've got to get some pictures of that hanging on the wall in the brewery.
It's
Yeah.
actually in this shop, the brewery shop, where he's got a little office in the back of it. That's where
Yes.
it's hanging. And then one of the kind gentlemen put it on the wall because they didn't want it damaged, which I thought was really lovely. So they
Yeah,
were nicely
absolutely.
hanging there,
That-
just
that-
for
that's
you,
terrific.
fine,
Oh, I'm
everything's-
very pleased that you got hold of him, and very enterprising that you went in and sort of stamped your little foot and said, "Hey, I got
That's
a
it.
bottle here. He should see."
I got a little bottle.
Oh, that's terrific. And I'm sure that Max will insert a picture of what we're talking about because he's got one in last week's programme. So that bottle is doing very nicely for us.
It's hanging well.
It is.
It's hanging around.
Now,
and doing
in
its
that
thing.
brewery, did you get any ideas for more?
Oh, I have, yes. I've
Yeah,
got
right.
about
Okay.
6
Tell us
bottles.
what you would choose from the brewery.
Well, I've got 4 or 5 other bottles. I'm going to choose 4 or 3 out of them, and I'm going to do a
Right.
series of postcards. I'm still going to roll with that because I think once I get the colours behind it, the pop arty pastel colours behind each painting, I
Right.
think he'll roll with that for next year.
Oh,
For next
right.
Christmas.
Great.
I really do.
Yeah.
And do a calendar. He was saying the idea of calendars. I said, well, I could easily, design a calendar. That's,
Yeah,
do 12
yeah.
bottles for each month.
Oh, smashing. So more commissions might come from it.
Well, who knows? You've
Yeah,
got to be in it to win it,
that-
right?
that's
so
excellent.
that's what I'm doing.
That's
so
excellent. I
I'm
mean,
so thrilled.
yeah. Is popping the bottle in is.
I've also got an update. I have
Yeah.
sold 4 paintings from the gallery.
All right. Now tell us all about that as well.
Well, we did a Black Friday at the end of November. We did a little
Mhm.
promotion, and I don't know if I said it at the last interview, but I sold 2 love hearts. I sold some prints
What?
and some prints, and I did a
Oh,
rock,
right.
Brighton rock
Yeah.
painting, and I sold a little miniature fab lolly painting.
Oh,
Not
terrific.
fab, knobbly bobbly. That was it.
Right, and this
So
is all
four
out of the
paintings and a
gallery.
print, yeah.
Yeah. Now I asked you last
Fantastic.
time if you track where they go. Do you know where these went?
I knew 2 of them went. I think I have spoken about this actually now. 2 of them went to one of my regular customers, which is fantastic, and I thank her forevermore for him.
So the Americans love your stuff, don't they?
The Americans.
Yeah. Didn't you say you went to America?
I went to America, but that you were talking about years ago. I went
Oh,
13,
sorry,
14 years
yeah.
ago. So since I've had this style, I haven't been to the States.
Right. Okay.
But we're going to go there next year, aren't we, Keith? I think.
Well, you're coming. It looks as if we got our thing on in March.
Oh right, so
Yeah,
it's still going
yeah.
ahead, is it?
Well, it's we haven't had the full okay yet, but
Oh, okay.
when you don't hear a no, you can be fairly
sure? Okay.
fairly sure it's been
Because I
considered.
need notice to grab some time off work actually, and,
Yeah.
and
I mean,
see this young little chap
if
of
the
mine,
if the airline isn't interested, and I mean that will be good material for you, I would have
Oh,
thought.
fantastic.
Have you ever painted planes?
I haven't actually, no.
What-
Probably in the
how
sky,
does
in the
it feel?
distance or something. What's a painter plane?
Yeah.
That'll be unusual. Be a new start. Be a new
Yeah.
chapter. In my
Well, I
life,
must say
guess.
you're always very daring.
Oh, I don't have any as such, but I try and grow a pair and get on there and do it. That's what you have to, Victor.
Yes. That's great. I mean, just to remind people, Sarah likes a lot of the iconic stuff from the United States, and paints some of the stuff, including bubble gum.
Well, the next is the Bazooka Joe. That's the one I'm looking at. But at the moment, I'm doing something a bit unusual. I'm doing like 3 lollipops. Like
Right.
those old-fashioned swirly
Yes,
ones,
yes.
and they twist round. And they've got all different colours. And in the background, I'm doing comic strips behind them.
Oh, that's great. What?
Yes.
Which comic strips?
Just a random comic I bought in Brighton. Just a black and white. So I don't want it too colourful because it's too distracted from the lollipops. So I decided just to have it nice and simple, black and white.
Mm.
So that's on the finishing stage. So next time, I'm sure in the new year at some point, I
You
will be
will
bringing
we'll
that
have
out.
something to look at. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh,
yes.
that's great. Now, when you said background comics, I always think of Dick Tracy
Oh,
as an
right.
American comic thing because Dick Tracy goes back to I think the 40s or the 50s,
Mhm.
but in those days he had a wristwatch that you could speak. He could speak to headquarters and so on.
Bit James
Yeah,
Bond.
and that was in the 50s, right?
Oh wow.
Now what's happened in the 2020s is now you can get this watch, can't you, from
Oh, right.
Google or whatever, and
It's like,
definitely
hey
do
Google,
marvelous
got a
things.
watch.
Yes,
We've got
yes,
one of those
yes.
on Hey Google.
Come in, Dick Tracy. Yeah. And I used to love the thing that when he hit somebody, they would do a little cloud, and it would say, wow,
Oh, like
or
Batman.
sock, or
Pound,
yes,
yeah,
that's right,
pound.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly. Yeah.
I would guess that Tracy probably came out of the same stable as Batman, so yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like they're doing the same.
But
Definitely drawing one.
so are these old comics or new comics, or
I think not that old.
Not
Quite
that
modern, really, but I probably would have preferred an old vintage comic.
yeah?
But it kind of looks it looks good.
There was a lovely old bookshop in the lanes for many years, and they had lots of comics. It's gone now, unfortunately, like a lot of these things. But anyway,
It's like a
so you're going to do a background of comics with the three lollipops.
exactly that.
Hey, that's very creative. That's very good.
Nearly off
okay.
the press. Nearly
Yeah.
there.
Now, what else are you be onto this week?
Well, I think I've been looking after this little rescue dog we've had for the last 6 weeks. She was very unsettled.
Oh,
when she
this
first
is Minnie.
came. This is Minnie. This is
Minnie,
little
Minnie,
yeah,
that's a Minnie
so
Mouse,
She was
yes,
very
yes, yes.
unsettled, and now we're just we're
How's
nurturing
Minnie doing?
her, and she's doing a lot better than she did. She's not yapping at the other dogs and wailing and screaming as much. She's
Yeah.
really unsettled totally, and toilets around the house. But now it's like very occasional.
Yeah, oh, that's
Very-
great.
come leave some bags.
Is she affectionate to you?
Oh, she is, yeah. She's
Yeah.
always cuddling up to us, and she's very playful. She loves playing tug of war. And she picks up her toy. If I say toy, she'll run and get. I taught her to get a toy, and she just goes and gets a toy and just starts playing.
That's
and
great. Now, let's just because it is the end of the year and we're heading towards Christmas, but let's just recap some of the things that you have done this year while you've been with us.
Wow. Do you know what? My head's
Well,
so
not all of
foggy,
them, but some of them. I mean, there were 2 or 3 that you did in the old studio, for instance. What were those? Remind me what those
Oh,
were.
golly, I did a large fab, a large knobbly bobbly.
Right.
I've created some prints. Golly, I'm gonna have to remember now. I did a caramel one. The caramel. Do you remember seeing that one at all?
Right. I think I remember that.
Caramel Fantastic it's called. It's a large caramel flavoured milkshake.
Right. Yes, that's right. Yes.
And I did the bubble gum,
Yes.
and I did the bottle of Harvey's.
Yes. And didn't you do a Coca-Cola or a bottle similar?
I think it was a print I got together. I
Ah.
think the Coca-Cola I hadn't actually quite finished. I actually hadn't. I've done the one that's gone to Panama.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Last year or the year before.
Yeah.
And my paintings take a while to do. So each time I do them,
Well, I'm
it's,
sure
like,
they're not
it's not
instant,
like a quick
no.
fix. It's not
Yeah.
like, oh, Sarah, can you do that?
No
Be done by
adding
next
water,
week.
no.
Yeah. But it's lovely because when Nita asked me to do a whole show, I just couldn't get it all together that quickly. I'm honest with people now. I say I'd love to do a show with you guys, whoever offers it. But I say you need to give me at least a year's notice, at least, because it
Yes.
takes like weeks and weeks, like 3 to 6 weeks, depending on how big the painting is.
Right.
So yeah, it does take time.
Well, we could do the steps. It occurs to me that one of the things that we might do, if your gallery were agreeable, is we should do a programme down in your gallery.
I could ask.
So, will you ask? Because it would be nice to be surrounded by art and that atmosphere. As much as we love this hotel, it is a hotel, and the atmosphere that you work within would be very nice to reflect, I think.
Let's give you an impression.
Secondly, it's where you sell a lot of your pictures from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd love to. I should ask the team.
And thirdly, it's in the lanes, isn't it?
It's just in the lanes, yeah, next to the
In the
mezzanin.
lanes, yeah, which are in themselves are sort of a bit artistic. Have you painted the lanes at all?
I haven't, but I actually have taken photographs ready to paint.
Ah, right.
But it's something
So-
I put on the back burner.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
something I
Yeah.
would-
Well, I
would
mean,
visit,
there's an awful lot
yeah.
on the back burner, but the nice thing is that all these things on the back burner, you surprise us, and you come in and sit down and say, "Oh, by the way, I finished this one." We've forgotten that you took the photograph. That's excellent. That's excellent. Now, once again, we can't help it. We've got to talk about Christmas. What's happening at
It was only
Christmas?
one Sunday. 5 days away.
Oh my goodness, is it that
It
close?
is the 20th today.
Oh God, I gotta get my suit out.
You've got 5 days until your census. Yeah.
Absolutely, but and several people are going to have to get not only the milk but some brandy in it as well.
And your carrot. Can you do carrot as well? And the glitter.
Yeah, why not? So, anything special? I mean, are you painting anything special? Are you doing anything special? What's happening in the
Really.
Sarah Fitch household?
Like, lots of family, just go and see my parents, I guess, and then we're going to go and see the other set of grandparents. You know,
Right.
Darren's mummy and daddy, and go and see them.
Yeah.
And so
I mean,
nice-
tell me,
nice
Sarah, just because you know, I'm fascinated, and I know a lot of viewers are fascinated because your art is quite different, and actually your approach is quite different. So as you go through Christmas, do you sort of see things and think, oh, I'd like to do that. Oh, I'd like to do
Oh
that.
yeah, lots of times.
Yeah. What sort of
I
things do
see
you
the
look
Christmas
at?
canes. You know the canes,
Right.
the twisty
Yes,
candy.
yes.
So I kind of think to myself,
The striped
"Oh,
canes, yeah.
Yeah, striped canes. Yeah, I'd love to do a series of those at Christmas. You know, maybe all different colours going along the canvas,
Right.
or you know, just one of those Christmas decorations with the silver, you know, the balls and the balls.
Yes,
you know,
yes.
the silver balls.
Right,
Just
that's
have
what I
them
got
as
in mind actually,
reflections.
because some of them are quite pretty. Some of them are quite pretty,
They are,
the
really
balls that you
stunning.
have on the Christmas tree and so on. How about the tree itself? Ever thought about painting
I
it?
have thought about painting a Christmas tree.
Well, then what we've got is we've got an objective for next Christmas.
So we've got 12
Between
months.
now and then, you're going to have to paint a Christmas tree, because when we sit down this time next year, you can look over there and say, here is the Christmas tree.
Whether we finished or not, that's another thing, but we can try it.
Well, we'll push it. Yeah. Okay. It's coming up to the new year. Any different thoughts? Any different approach?
I'd like to be a bit more. I'm going to keep the style I'm going with, but I'm just going to do some experimentations with things next year.
Right.
Just
And when you say experimenting, give us a clue as
something a
to
bit
sort
more
of
imaginative.
experimentation.
Something I sort of feel like although I'm putting my slant on these things I paint, I want to try and do something a bit more imaginative, you know, a bit more creative. Something not quite sure. I mean, I did Max's. Someone new, wasn't it? A vase of flowers design. Do you remember?
I'll put it on the screen now.
Yeah, and that's completely out of my brain and head and whatever, but it's like, I don't know, just something a bit, or do the work I do but make it more surreal and make it like, so the cola bottle, say for instance, you've got a goldfish swimming inside it or something like that. So you've got the photorealism going on, but it's kind of fantasy as well. It's got that surreal.
I mean, have you got Dali in mind?
I love Dali, he's one of my
Yeah.
favourite artists.
Yes, because he paints sort of clocks dripping
Melting
over it,
clocks,
doesn't he?
that's
And
it,
that sort of thing.
totally.
Yeah, I'm no great artist, but he is very impressive. That sort of. So you've
it's
got that
brilliant.
sort of thing in mind.
Yeah, not necessarily looking like Dali's, but the idea of it really being
Yeah,
well
doing
exquisitely
something
painted,
unusual.
but being
Yeah.
creative. So I'm actually superimposing other sort of metamorphic things going on as such, and then it's kind of on the same canvas. So that's one stream, and I thought about doing some paintings for halls of residence, just finding another market to get myself out there.
Yeah.
So just a bit of just throwing a few experiments and just being more creative and maybe some imaginary things as well.
Imaginary things.
Imaginary like characters, you know,
Ah,
as such,
right.
and
Right.
painting it.
I
Maybe
mean, when you
children's
say
book
that,
or- I don't
do you
know.
mean sort of bizarre characters that would come out of people's dreams, or?
I was thinking maybe a children's book, perhaps.
Aha.
Perhaps,
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's just an idea.
Yeah.
I mean, I just want to sort of come out, because they say 20% is experimentation's good for you.
Yeah.
If you just stay in the same zone all the time, I think you get a bit stagnated, and you've got to be feeling that passion that you've got inside you,
Yeah.
and to keep that alive. You know, it's no harm in experimenting.
I have to say, anybody viewing it, Sarah is always full of surprises because although basically Marmite is the we have a Marmite sort of iconic thing, but I mean you do sort of special things online, don't you? And
I do Instagram.
yeah, all sorts of different types of art. You're very creative and always thinking about new stuff. which is great, really. I mean, are you tempted to sort of say, look, those things have sold, so I'll carry on with that theme?
Oh, I'm going to carry on with the same style, but what I'm saying is I think I'm just going to do some experimental things. So
Right.
it keeps it going, keeps it alive, and and if something does pop out the bag, then I can go, oh, I might try these, sell
Yeah.
those. So it's just, being an artist, you have to keep your mind healthy. You can't stay stagnated, you have to be on it all the time, change. You have trends of things go in and out of fashion. So it's always good to sort of keep yourself there,
Yeah.
just...
Now,
Yeah.
just before we finish, we are on an age of protest, and Max was very exorcised because some group that were objecting to oil were throwing things on things in the gallery. And I guess there are other ways of defacing paintings, and people do it. I mean, how upsetting do you
I
find
find
that?
it very upsetting. Someone's put their love and thought into a painting, and some person just doesn't agree with climate, because of climate change, and throws it at someone else's art. What's the artist got to do with climate change? Are they buying high toxic oil paints or something that's polluting the world? I don't think so.
No.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think to myself, that seems a bit unfair. Maybe transportation, throw it at the bus or something, or it lets out lots of
Could we perhaps have you do a painting of these faces with a noose around the neck?
Oh, I don't think I want to paint that, to be honest, Keith. That seems no way to me.
Yeah. Well, that punishment is out.
I'm definitely going to be doing that.
Sarah,
But yeah,
it's been a great year. We've done some interesting things, some interesting programs. And I shall be looking out to try and, if we do a year-end thing. The trouble with a year-end thing is it takes a lot of time and effort, and we are very small. But nonetheless, I hope that I can find a couple of things to put into some sort of year-end thing. And we will see you next year.
Absolutely.
And building up to going around about March to New York. And
fantastic. Well, we're looking out for that as well, definitely. Thank you very much.
perhaps we'll get American Express to sponsor it.
Hope to do.
Actually,
Happy Christmas.
Actually, before we go, where can people buy your artwork, and where can they find you on social media and contact
Yeah,
you and all
sure.
that?
I
Do you want to go
can.
through that quickly?
Yeah, give that out. It's Instagram. Is Sarah with an
I'll put it
H.
up on screen.
Yeah, with an H. So that's Instagram. I've got my website. I've got myself walking to galleries and saying hi. So I think really mainly Instagram and my website are the two social. I mean, I have my Facebook page as well. I do have my Facebook page.
Yeah.
So that's basically Sarah Fitchase Art on Facebook. So yeah, by all means, have a look on there as well.
People
Definitely.
can also buy your artwork from Art5 Gallery
Yes,
in Brighton.
absolutely, 100%. Yeah, I forgot. God, how can I forget that? Yep, so Art5 in Brighton, that's just off Ship Street. You know where the Mesmerist pub is? It's literally just 2 doors on the right-hand side from the Mesmerist.
Thanks.
Sponsor
A
us.
very, very Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas,
Very Happy
Keith.
New
Yeah,
Year.
Merry Christmas,
And
Max.
to the
Yeah, definitely.
family as well.
Thank you.
And
Yeah.
to Minnie.
And Merry Christmas to you viewers.
Oh, Minnie, you're so lovely.
Yeah. Isn't she lovely? Well, thank
We'll
you.
see Sarah in the new year. I don't know why I always forget that. Anyway, it's just rabbiting on about Sarah, and we shall look forward to seeing her in the new year. I would like to just spend a few moments up until 10:50. It's now 10:50. Since we've got 10 minutes, so we want to use it. My rant has been over, two things. One is that people do not use the important things that are small, but will help us develop as a society, as a community. It's a much bigger and healthier thing. And that one of those things is manners, courtesy. Because manners and courtesy, I mean, I just saw another little thing here. It's the woke people, who are the most terribly destructive people, in my view, is they destroy the language, they destroy our views. They really don't want to give us freedom of thought, and that is the most dangerous thing. Is I can't wait to see the end of this stupidity that we are entering into in the woke generation. Absolute nonsense. Words are meant to convey thoughts and ideas. So what they say is that this particular word conveys a thought and idea of which they don't approve. Well, that's bullshit, and that's got to stop. If I was woke, if I was feeling wokish, I would hide my head in shame, knowing that I'm a most destructive person. But basically, good manners, politesse, are disappearing from our society. The people that you deal with here don't even have the courtesy to either phone back or write back, or to acknowledge an invitation. That is just awful. And before you start to say, "Oh well, that's out of favor," I belong to a London club. Yeah, elitist if you want. I don't give a shit. I'm sorry. I'm using a slightly foul language, which I normally will not permit. But I'm getting so annoyed with what's happening in our society. We are turning into a negative society. We don't do anything to build a decent, warm, caring society. We have the me generation. And that brings on a huge level of selfishness, and you can see it. And until we actually get back to a sense of duty, sense of care, sense of live and let live, sense that our neighbor counts and matters, then we are going to have a society that is not at peace with itself. And that has got to be very obvious that we're not at peace with ourselves at the moment. Not at all, at all, at all. And it's very sad. But let me just say that leads me on. It leads me on to the question of Parkinson's. You know, I don't hide it. I've suffered from Parkinson's. I look at it this way. I actually joined a very esteemed group of people. It's Muhammad Ali, whom I once interviewed, incidentally. Muhammad Ali. Billy Graham, who I didn't interview. The Big Yin, whom I almost interviewed. And a number of other people, Neil Diamond, you name it, Michael J. Fox, of course, of all people, who's taken such a lead, such a lead in trying to defeat this dreadful disease. He has made a remarkable impact And I would like to think that people like Michael J. Fox are deserving of a great deal of respect, particularly from the wokes. Parkinson's is almost a forgotten disease. All sorts of money is raised for other, I don't know, illnesses, if you like, conditions. I don't like the word disease anymore. Oh, here's a bit of news flash. Nicola Sturgeon is to resign as First Minister of Scotland. Wow, she just took step one too far. That'll be interesting to see what's going to happen. This is what I stayed around. It's 10:57. But I'm expressing my great disappointment in the charitable organizations, and particularly those people at Parkinson's. Because if you can't actually be polite, you can't actually demonstrate good manners, then you are not in a position to run a charity successfully. And you have shown scant good manners at the Parkinson lot. You've got some individually very nice people. But once we get into those people who want to sit on the boards and the committees, we're lost. And so it is with the Parkinson's lot. So whereas we were going to actually urge you to put some money into the Parkinson's pot, we're not. Because we're not sure that this money would be satisfactorily spent. But what we are going to do is to remind you each day, about Parkinson's and its need for support. And if you will get on the bandwagon, if you will give it support, and it doesn't have to be monetary necessarily, perhaps we can A, smarten up this organization, B, make a much better effort to see if we can do something about stopping what basically destroys people's lives. It does. Hasn't destroyed mine yet. Then I'm only 83. I've got a bit to go, perhaps. We will now say a goodbye until tomorrow. Tomorrow we have Liza Page in, who must be feeling very, very good, because some of the stuff that she's been saying that people think are just madness is coming home to roost. Now, the establishment are saying the Chinese, particularly, but others, can snoop and spy and are doing so. So Liza tomorrow, and I'm sure that she'll be very vocal about a number of things. And then on Friday, Stuart Dolby will be along to explain to us the absolute rubbish and corrupt activities going on in the energy industry, while we all suffer from huge fees and not much heat. There we go. I've done it again. I've had a go at just about everybody. And why not? Why not? It's 11 o'clock. It is 11 o'clock. And we will say toodle pip, but we will be back tomorrow morning, same time, 8:30. We look forward to having you with us. And do, actually, if you want, send in any suggestions you've got. We are quite happy to look at them all. Till tomorrow, this is Mirador Television, broadcasting out of the White Hart Hotel in the centre of Lewes in East Sussex. Parkinson's dries out my mouth. It's beginning to dry out now. I'm going to last for the last few.